There's simply an incredible number of awesome video games that exist out there. All the way back from the Atari to modern gaming today, there's always been a pretty steady stream of great games coming out of somewhere. And yet people like me still find time between playing them all to wonder, what if? There are just too many potentially really interesting games that were never released that it's mind-boggling. Which is why I'd like to introduce you to The Lost Bits, a new series of videos where I talk about cancelled games, beta versions, and other gaming goodness that has been otherwise lost to history. And to begin off this series, I'd like to talk about Donkey Kong no Ongaku Asobi, because it's an edutainment game and that's my thing now for some reason. Donkey Kong no Ongaku Asobi, or Donkey Kong's Fun with Music as it may have been known to English speakers, was to be the third game in Nintendo's early line of edutainment games, which also included Popeye no Iago Asobi and Donkey Kong Jr. Math, the former of which I actually did a review of. Now, not much is currently known about this title, and I expect it to probably stay that way since it was cancelled so long ago, but it was actually shown in a Japanese gaming pamphlet released directly from Nintendo. The pamphlet showed off 4 screenshots, each shedding a bit of light on what this game could have been. First of all, we have this shot of the title screen. By the copyright of 1983, I'm going to assume that this would have been one of the Pulse Line games. And for those of you who have never heard of the Pulse Line games, basically, in the early years of the Famicom, Nintendo's first-party releases all shared a label art design convention resembling a heart monitor's display. There were 14 of these games, and they are all very collectible because in many ways they define definitive Nintendo gaming of their era. The cancellation of Donkey Kong's Fun with Music really gives the impression of some missing history here. I just have to wonder, how many other Pulse Line games would there have been? From the research I've done, I've found at least one other likely candidate in the form of a bowling game, which was seemingly to be released alongside baseball and golf. Though, so little is known about this game, I won't even be able to put together an episode for it. Also on the title screen, we get to look at our 2 modes, which obviously have the greatest names ever. Well, the bottom one anyway. We have Music Quiz and Donkey Band. An interesting fact, actually, Donkey Kong's creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, gave Donkey Kong his name because he believed that, in English, donkey meant something like stupid, giving his name the meaning of stupid ape. So, by this logic, the second mode is essentially Stupid Band. An interesting choice for sure. From what I can figure, the first mode, Music Quiz, can be seen in these screenshots, though this is complete conjecture. I imagine that this mode would work by having Mario and Pauline run across the keyboard and hit the keys that correspond to the displayed notes. Furthermore, judging by the presence of Mario and Pauline, this would have been a competitive mode, similar to the word catcher mode from Popeye's English. It looks as if it could have been kind of fun, racing against the other player to hit the note first, and the animations would seem to be pretty nice as well, with your character smacking the piano keys with a hammer. I think it's sort of also worth noting that if this game would have been finished, it would have been the earliest first-party NES game to feature a female playable character. One theory that's been proposed surrounding this game, when you consider the Famicom's large number of peripherals, is that perhaps there was to be a piano-like keyboard accessory for the Famicom that would have been compatible with this game in particular, and that perhaps the high cost of the potential accessory is the reason for the game's cancellation. The Donkey Band mode confuses me quite a bit more and perhaps is the best evidence of there being a keyboard accessory. Judging from the screenshot provided, there isn't much that you could do with a standard controller, so either you'd play it with a keyboard or maybe this was just a jukebox-like mode where you could listen to 8-bit versions of the included songs played by the Donkey Band. Speaking of the included songs, it's unknown of course what the entire repertoire would have been, but we know of at least 2. I've Been Working on the Railroad, and Inu no Omowari-san, a song apparently popular with Japanese youth. Judging by this, I'm going to assume that most of the songs probably would have been young children's songs, but who knows, maybe some Journey made it in there. It ended up in Mega Man somehow after all. So this concludes my look at Donkey Kong's Fun with Music. An interesting idea for sure, but seemingly light on gameplay. The game would have added music to the already covered math and language skills, so I have to wonder if there were plans to cover other subjects like history or possibly geography. It's also a shame to know that this game will most likely never be played by anyone outside of Nintendo, as I imagine the resources and anything related to this game was probably deleted at some point, so leaks would seem highly unlikely. But who knows, maybe one day it will get leaked and I'll finally be able to fulfill my dreams of being part of a stupid band. Thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.